What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So this video is going to be a little bit different than what we're used to. Typically, I will go through a lot of the news. I'll go through exactly what's happening at XRP. Not doing that here in this video. Brad Garlinghouse comes out and speaks about the SEC, speaks about Gensler and the war on crypto. And I feel as though this is something we need to kind of just talk about and understand a little bit more, coming directly from the CEO's mouth. Anytime we hear that there's a war on cryptocurrency as a cryptocurrency investor, it's not something that's creating positive thoughts towards crypto. And when we hear about crypto on these news networks, it's always the negative side of things. But now we have more positive, a positive outlook on cryptocurrency to where kind of Trump has flipped and he's more pro crypto while Biden's camp is just not really all about crypto from what we understand. Now, I'm not sitting here promoting either one. I'm not going to say whether, you vote for this person or vote for this person. I'm just a fan of crypto, right? And I want both sides to understand that because crypto is the future, in my opinion. So let's see what Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has to say. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also, if you guys want to get started with trading crypto, we have platforms down there that you can trade, which is Coinbase and Crypto.com. I also have a link for Margex at the top of the description. If you guys are interested, you can trade up to 100x leverage, 50x leverage on XRP. Just know that leverage trading is very, very risky, and you have to be a pretty good trader in order to be profitable in leverage trading. You can get lucky every once in a while, but it's not about luck. It's about managing your risk and knowing how to trade. So feel free to check out that link if you guys are interested. But let's go ahead and check this out. I have this up on YouTube, and it's a 7-minute video. We'll interrupt as time goes on just to understand or just to break down things maybe a little bit more how I feel.
Your message to the RNC and DNC.
Well, my first message is really that this should have never really become a partisan issue. I think all of us should embrace technical innovation, and these are technologies that truly can transform the cost and efficiency of financial transactions particularly. And so our message is really that we as an industry want to be regulated. We want to have the clarity of that regulation. And it's been refreshing to see the Republican Party kind of lean into that as part of their platform.
You've definitely
And that's kind of the one thing that I always brought up is the fact that, we in the crypto space as a crypto investor that, or just the projects and companies, we just want to get clarity. And yes, regulation would be great. Being able to have, insurance also would be great instead of, just not like if you lose your money, you lose your money. But in a bank, you can have, insurance that can insure up to 250,000 or whatever that is. So honestly, we would love to have that regulation and that insurance.
seen crypto move towards President Trump. Why? What is the Biden administration doing that's so wrong that crypto guys don't like it?
Well, I think the primary thing that has happened is, 5 years ago, I was out publicly saying that there wasn't clarity in the rules and the rules of the road. And 5 years later, after Ripple was sued by the United States SEC, we still don't have clarity in those rules of the road. And so you have in this administration, in Chair Gensler, the chairman of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, really a fight between the SEC and to some degree the CFTC about who is the regulator of consequence. And Chair Gensler has taken the position that kind of everything is what he calls a digital security or something like that. Judges have ruled against him repeatedly, but this administration has kind of continued that fight against the industry.
What's your conversations that you're having right now with the existing administration? I mean, you referenced some of those lawsuits, and of course, I think it was last July where you at least had that partial victory in that case, and ultimately, more or less, that worked out in your favor, depending on all the legal avenues here. But we talk about an administration that actually seems to now have pulled back. Maybe they got the message, but what conversations are you having with them about the structure of regulations, how they may morph and how they may change going forward?
Before he gets into that answer, I mean, like I just don't understand why it's always been a guilty until proven innocent type of thing, where it's like we believe it's this rather than trying to get clarity. It's always been a fight rather than trying to just compromise or understand. Like, you know how you get into an argument with your significant other, and you feel as though that argument could have been avoided by, both sides, to where it didn't have to get to that level. It could have started out with like what needs to be done, or how can we both get this type of thing done. That's the same thing here, right? You need that compromise, you need that kind of level-headedness. Get into a meeting, understand where you can go from here, create a new definition, or extend the current definition or current laws, just to kind of add crypto into this, because this is something brand new, right? They didn't create all of these cyber laws before you had the internet. Like, this is the thing, it's brand new. And when you have things that are new, you can't just have old laws that fit that same thing. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I was actually in Washington, D.C. last Wednesday as part of a crypto roundtable hosted by Rep. Khanna, but attended by Senator Gillibrand as well as Anita Dunn from the White House. And it was, I think, the Democrats realizing that they've kind of gotten behind where the Republican Party and the Republican platform has been as relates to crypto. And I think they were there listening to the industry. Mark Cuban was one of the hosts of that event also. And so I think it was refreshing to start to have that conversation. But as you referenced, this is almost exactly a one-year anniversary of the court case where Ripple was sued by the government. And look, the one thing that the SEC was arguing most vociferously was this idea that XRP, the digital asset that Ripple uses in our technology, was a security. And that was really what they cared about. And what the judge ruled is that XRP is not a security. And that's really been a formative case for the industry. So we're going to continue really clamoring and trying to champion the clarity of regulation. And yeah. I'm hopeful that as we see a changing of the guard, we'll see that.
Sorry, just to clarify, though, I mean, was the ruling, though, it did make a distinction between institutional investors and retail investors, did it not?
What it said actually is that just like if you package up real estate or you package up even pork bellies, if you put those into an investment contract, the investment contract is a security.
Gotcha.
But the ruling was very clear that no matter what, XRP in and of itself is not a security.
See, that's the clarity, honestly, that a lot of people needed to understand what's the difference between the law that they broke versus whether XRP should be labeled as a security or not. And XRP is not a security. It's the only one that's out there with legal clarity to say that it is not a security. Even Bitcoin doesn't have that. Yes, they've come out and said that, but it's not legally, just not a security, right? XRP, is legally not a security, which is always fantastic for the future of crypto, because now you have some sort of guidelines or some sort of model, right? If you were creating a product, you would like to have a mold of what that project is or what that product is. And if you have that mold, you can build more and more and more of those things. And I think that's where, once we had that mold, this is what's labeled as not a security. However, you would like to be able to kind of argue that this over here, while it has a different mold, it also is not a security, right? So that's kind of where we stand with that.
Brad, do you agree then with, okay, so the reason why, in part, that President Trump is pro-crypto is because he doesn't want China to be more crypto than the U.S. Is that actually like a material risk that China would surpass the U.S. in terms of its crypto innovation?
Probably.
Well, I can't speak to China specifically, but what we are seeing is whether it's the UK, Japan, Singapore, I mean, even the European Union, more than 24 countries have come together to create a framework to provide crypto regulation. They call it MiCA. And what's frustrating as a U.S. company and someone who grew up here in the Midwest, it's frustrating that we as a country can't get that rules, the framework in place. And instead, we have this interminable litigation coming from the SEC that really isn't solving the problem. Well, we went to court and spent over $150 million in 3 years of our time arguing that in the court and prevailed. We can't do that with every single token. And so we have been advocating, and there is legislative momentum, both on the Democratic and Republican side of the House. Something passed the House just recently called the FIT 21 Act. The Senate is considering various bills. And certainly with the choice of J.D. Vance as a vice presidential candidate, he personally has put forth language, a draft language for a bill that the Senate may or may not consider.
So it's less about the daylight between the regulation of the two parties, and it's more just about Gary Gensler.
Well, certainly Gary Gensler, in my judgment, has been at war with crypto. That is for certain. But it's also, I think, a tone from the overall Biden administration. The OCC certainly has been anti-crypto. You're seeing other elements of the banking industry really take a kind of an anti-crypto point of view, which hasn't, I don't think, served us well. And to Romaine's question earlier, I think, we as a country have benefited immensely from being the heart and center of the internet. The internet really grew up here in part because we had clear regulatory dynamics in the United States passed in the late 90s. That allowed entrepreneurs to build, that allowed capital to flow in. And I think we've been, seeking that as other countries around the world have leaned into that and provided that clarity. And, you're seeing entrepreneurs and capital in this industry flow into other countries instead of the United States.
Yeah, I think that's something that, I think that's a big thing. And I don't know why that hasn't been a big thing. I mean, crypto honestly is the future, and maybe we're just not comfortable with it in the U.S. as the U.S. dollar really does control, not necessarily control all countries or anything, but does have a massive presence in a lot of countries. So if something's going to replace the dollar, it has to be vetted in the largest way possible. However, it doesn't seem like they're doing that process justice at all, because it could be something that's, you're working with rather than fighting against, and then when you see other countries that are coming together, it's like, okay, well, maybe we should, be a part of this. Or you get to an election year and it seems like a lot of people are for crypto. All of a sudden, the current administration is for crypto, right? And then this other administration is for crypto. They showed that, and now everybody's for crypto. It's kind of like every situation that goes on, everything that happens, they're against one thing, and then the next election cycle, all of a sudden they're for it, right? That's just how that goes, because they change their mind based on if they want to win or not, right? It's not about what they truly believe in. It's based on if they want to win. And I think crypto has come a long way. But just to kind of talk about them spending over $150 million during this battle, Ripple was one of the only ones that could have done this. And I'm so happy that they decided to fight it rather than just accept a settlement or plea deal or whatever, or just pay the money. Like, they decided to fight it because you need crypto regulation, and Ripple was the right person to do it. Brad Garlinghouse was the right person to be at head of this, but then also Ripple is the right company to do it. I mean, they had enough money, they have enough support, they have enough volume to really go about this. And what the SEC or what the government tends to do is they'll fight until you run out of money. Well, Ripple's not running out of money. And if they would have done this with Binance, I don't think Binance would have ran out of money, but if they would have done this with any other company like a Kraken has paid $20 million, and I think has gone through another lawsuit as well. So it's definitely something to where you want to have companies that have a large amount of money to fight this, because they will try and run you dry.
I am curious, though, Brad, too, when we talk about the regulatory aspects of it, and I understand the policy platform that Trump and, to a certain extent, that J.D. Vance has started to articulate since he got named as VP candidate. But we also know that a lot of the objections to, let's just say, the growth of the crypto space was not just coming from the White House directly. There were concerns raised by the Fed. There were concerns raised by the Treasury. Agencies that, to a certain extent, will have a certain degree of autonomy from anything that comes out of the White House, no matter who is sitting there in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that, look, what we are seeing and what we are seeking is clear rules of the road. The vast majority of people I know in the crypto industry are good actors who want to follow the rules, we've been asking for clear rules. And I think as Alex described earlier, in Chair Gensler, instead of saying, let's codify that, let's sit down, they keep hiring more lawyers to bring more lawsuits. And again, it's just a silly way to approach regulation through enforcement is not the best way to approach this problem. And that's why we've been working with people on Capitol Hill. And again, on both sides of the aisle, it just happens to be this became partisan for maybe good and bad reasons. And you're seeing the Republicans kind of lean into it more so than the Democrats.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I said, was the fact that they're, and that's a good way of putting it, is, trying to work through this through enforcement and, kind of hurt the crypto industry rather than just go, okay, let's work through this. Let's compromise. Let's understand what crypto is first, because I honestly don't think they understand what crypto is. I think Gensler does, because he was, from what I understood, he was going to teach a class on like blockchain. And I forget where, but that's what I've heard or read, but I don't remember exactly where.
We only have about 30 seconds left, Brad, but I am curious here about your relationship with the SEC. Are you in settlement talks at all with the agency right now?
I can't comment on that specifically. Suffice it to say that the ruling has been clear from the judge. There's one final piece, as you referenced, about these investment contracts that are sold to institutions. We expect resolution very soon, but can't predict exactly when the judge will rule there.
Brad, what is your message to the RNC?
That's great to see that. I think this was fantastic to understand where his head is when it comes to cryptocurrency, where America's head is when it comes to cryptocurrency, where Trump leans, where Biden leans, where the camps lean. And honestly, I think we will reach a point to where crypto will be widely accepted. And, the talks of things being securities will be no more. However, we will have some sort of rules, regulation, which I honestly call for regulating the exchanges, right, to make sure that they're trading the right things. But obviously have these clear rules of the road to tell you why those things cannot be traded or can be traded, right? If we don't have clear rules, then there's no rhyme or reason to why you say yes or no to a cryptocurrency. So I think, yes, it should be regulated. Exchanges should be regulated to an extent. And then we receive all of the cryptocurrencies or are able to trade a lot of these cryptocurrencies that they offer, rather than, going and trading something that may be at risk, or we may be at risk of losing all of our money, right? If it's highly regulated, you might end up having insurance as well. It's just everything that could benefit the investor. Guys, let me know what you think about this. I don't know if this video is going to be monetized, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because Bloomberg tends to, demonetize things and copyright claim everything. So hopefully they don't. But if they do, it's fine. Hopefully it can still get up there, rather than just, it can go up demonetized if possible, because I just want to express this. But guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more of these videos. Also, check out my link for MargX if you guys are interested in trading 50x, 100x, 5x leverage. But I'm going to get out of here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.